What is up, guys? Eric here from Real Film Reviews, bringing you another special Netflix video today. I'm gonna give you guys another 10 recommendations of things to watch on Netflix for October. The last video that I did has recently been garnering a lot of support, and I have gained some new subscribers, so welcome everyone. I'm very happy that you're here. I thought that I would start making this a monthly thing. I'm gonna do this one for October. A couple weeks from now, I'm gonna do a special one just for Halloween, so everyone has some fun stuff to watch with their friends. But I feel like you guys really enjoy knowing things that you can watch just from the comfort of your own home and be able to enjoy something that you don't have to go into blind and hope that it's good. Instead, you have my recommendation, which means that it should be at least somewhat enjoyable, right? I have also been bouncing around the idea of doing different streaming services, so I'm subscribed to HBO Go, Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and Hulu. So I have 4, plus I also have Stars Play, but that's when you can only get if you have Stars as like a cable thing. But the other 4 are all things that you can pay for a subscription to. So if you guys would be interested in it, I can do videos on Hulu, on Amazon Video, on HBO Now or HBO Go and Netflix if you guys would want one weekly of the different streaming services that I all have. Just leave a comment below, let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in. But let's get into the list. The first movie that I'm recommending is a movie that actually came out this year and I really enjoyed it, which is Zootopia. To me, Zootopia is one of the best animated movies we've gotten in a while. I think Finding Dory is also obviously really good, but Zootopia is available on Netflix now. It's easily one of my favorite movies thus far in 2016. It's about a little bunny who dreams of being a cop in this big city of Zootopia. It builds this whole wide world of all these different animals, and it's just a really fun, family, enjoyable comedy. There's nothing about this movie that's really bad. As a whole, this movie is just really fun. The second movie is one that comes from my childhood. It's Good Burger, starring Kenan and Kel. This is a Nickelodeon original movie. I remember watching this movie as a kid and enjoying it. It is kind of just stupid, fun comedy. It's something that you can throw on in the background and enjoy. If you still watch Kenan Thompson on SNL, he's still great there. I have no idea what Kel is up to these days, but the two of them are just a great duo in this movie. They play very similar characters to the characters from their show, and if you watched Kenan and Kel and you've never seen Good Burger, definitely check it out. The next movie that I want to throw in your guys' mind is Dope. It's a movie that some of you might have already watched on Netflix. It seems like it's rather popular on Netflix, but it's a small movie that came out last year that's about this kid who lives in the ghetto of LA, and he's really smart, and he's trying to decide what college to go to, but while he's doing this, he still wants to seem cool, and he gets mixed up with a drug dealer, and a whole bunch of crazy stuff happens with him and his friends. But it's just a very coming-of-age story. It's a very modern film. It takes into account everything that we have available to us nowadays. Granted, the end gets a little preachy, but as a whole, it's a very solid movie, and it's really funny. It's got this very real-feeling quality to it that I think many movies are missing nowadays, because when you take into account the modern era, it's hard to make something seem real because we're all really so engrossed in all the technology that we have, but I felt that this movie actually captured that aspect pretty well. The next movie is one of my personal favorites, which is American Beauty starring Kevin Spacey. This is a Best Picture winner. It's the story of a dad who is sort of in a lull in his life. He doesn't really know what he's doing with his time. He kind of hates his wife. His daughter seems like she has no interest in any of them. And then he kind of falls in love with his daughter's friend. And it's a very strange story, but the way it all plays out is so poetic and so amazing that there really isn't a flaw to this film. It is a very, very well put together, well-made movie that I highly recommend to anyone that enjoys films. If you watch House of Cards and enjoy Kevin Spacey, ironically that's a Netflix original show, if you like Kevin Spacey on that, definitely watch American Beauty. Gladiator. Who hasn't seen Gladiator? Maybe you haven't, and if you haven't seen Gladiator, watch Gladiator. It's Russell Crowe in his prime, it's Ridley Scott actually making a good movie, which, you know, kind of something that's a little rare nowadays, which is kind of upsetting. and it's just great sandal and sword action in this movie. It's the story of Russell Crowe, who plays a general in the Roman army, but when the emperor changes, the new emperor hates Russell Crowe, and he kicks him out, and Russell Crowe becomes like a slave, and he is forced to become a gladiator. But this weird dichotomy starts between him and the emperor and the people, because the people love him, but when the emperor knows who he is, he wants him dead, but he can't do it because then the people will obviously uprise. It's this great movie that has a lot of psychological issues involved in great action that is filmed throughout this film. Many of the scenes are very emotional and very gripping. Joaquin Phoenix is phenomenal in this film, just as Russell Crowe. Both of them should have won the Oscars for this movie. Russell Crowe did. I have another big time drama for you guys, which is one that, from talking to friends of mine, I've actually realized not as many people have seen as they should have, which is Saving Private Ryan. This is the best war movie of all time. Period. I don't care what you say. There isn't a war movie that is better than Saving Private Ryan. You can have your opinion of what you think is, but Saving Private Ryan is the pinnacle of a war film. This movie has characters that feel like real people fighting in this real conflict. Tom Hanks gives one of the best performances of his entire career in this movie. This movie should have won Best Picture over stupid Shakespeare in Love, which I don't like at all. And honestly, if you have not seen Saving Private Ryan, it has probably in the top 10 greatest scenes in film history in its D-Day sequence. It's the most realistic scene in war film history, probably. Steven Spielberg did so much research. He did everything he wanted to get this scene just right. If you have not seen this movie, watch it. It is a masterpiece. And going from very serious to very silly, we have Wet Hot American Summer. Netflix just released a new original series of Wet Hot American Summer that's supposed to be the next summer. But this initial film is this very strange spoof film that stars a ton of people that are super famous right now. I'm not even going to try to name them all. And it's this weird story of this summer camp where these counselors have all these weird relationships, and it's absolutely hilarious. This movie is super funny. I didn't see this movie until about a year ago. Highly recommended to anyone that likes really weird, offbeat indie comedies. Just as in the vein of Saving Private Ryan, we have The Imitation Game, which stars Benedict Cumberbatch and Keira Knightley, and is the story of Alan Turing, the man that invented the first computer, really, and he invented the thing that broke the Enigma code, which was the code that the Nazis used during World War II that everyone thought was unbreakable, and it was what was making this war so difficult to win for everyone. He broke this code, and this movie basically tells his life story. It focuses on that aspect of breaking the Enigma code, but it also covers more because he was a homosexual back when it was unacceptable in Britain, back when they would give you drugs to try to turn you into a heterosexual, and his life is a very sad one after it is found out that he is publicly a homosexual. And this movie shows just how messed up the past is, but it also shows how smart and how much of a genius one man can be and how many lives one man can save with just putting effort into something that he truly cares about. I really enjoyed this movie. I think Benedict Cumberbatch is absolutely amazing in it. If you haven't seen this movie, it tells the story of a hero from World War II that not enough people know about. The next movie on my list is one that some people might give me shit for, similar to my Tim Allen choice from the previous video, is Chef, starring Jon Favreau. I like this movie. I don't really care what anybody says. I saw it in theaters, and I thought it was just a very nice movie. It's Jon Favreau directing, he wrote it, he stars in it alongside John Leguizamo, who I am also a fan of. And I feel like this is a movie that we don't get enough of movies like this nowadays. This is just a happy, nice movie. There's nothing about this movie that's crazy. There's nothing about it that punches you in the gut with sadness or anything. It's just a nice, kind movie. It's a very true to what the world can be like movie. It's the story of a man who's a top-level chef. He loses his job and he decides to start a food truck, and he does it, and he like creates this dream, and then he goes around selling Cuban sandwiches, and it doesn't sound like there's much going on, but there's family issues happening, and it's just a very nice movie. If you want a movie that will put a smile on your face while at the same time make you so hungry, watch Chef. The last movie that I want to recommend is one that's a little bit of a dark horse. I think that the people that do know about this movie love it. It has a very big cult following, and that is The Crow, starring Brandon Lee, the son of Bruce Lee. This is, to my knowledge, one of, if not the only feature film that he ever did. He was actually killed on the set of this film through a mistake in a prop. It's a very sad story, and we get this movie almost as a memorial to Brandon Lee and what he could have done had this horrible accident not happened. This movie has amazing action. It's a very cool story about almost a superhero, but he's more of an anti-hero. The story is his fiance and him are murdered, and he's brought back to life by this strange power. And when he comes back, he can't be killed, and basically his goal is to hunt down the people that killed his fiance. This movie is very dark, it's very brooding, but it fits very well with the premise of the film. If you enjoy comic book movies like Watchmen or Sin City, I would highly recommend this movie. Well guys, I hope this list can hold you over for another couple weeks before I release my Halloween edition of 10 Things to Watch on Netflix. So as always, I'm Eric. If you enjoyed this video, please do like, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts on any of the movies that I shared, and please check out everything we do here on Real Film Reviews, and I hope to see you guys later.